their relationship to China is. You follow
Well,
me?
think about this though. They know that almost every person in America's got guns, and the only way that they're going to be able to disable us is to totally disable us.
Yep.
They're not going to be able to just hit us in 2 or 3 areas and cripple us and think that we're going to surrender, because we're not. We're not going to surrender over 2 or 3 areas being totally wiped out.
Right. Right.
And they know
Well,
that. They know that.
yeah. I think what the Chinese might want to do then is use low-level, smaller bombs. Like if you have resistance, like hit your enemies with a smaller neutron bomb, where you can kill all the people but leave the infrastructure.
Are those on hypersonic bombs too as well? I mean, where they go like what, 7 times the speed of sound?
Well, they can fly up to 16,000 miles per hour, 4 miles in a second. Yep. And the warning time is much lower.
How much lower? Minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
10, 15 minutes.
Oh, man.
Yep.
So we ain't got but about 12 minutes in to knock it out.
Yeah, and good luck with that. Okay.
Without it spreading all over us down here.
Right.
Oh
right.
God, this is making me sick.
Well, the thing is, don't overreact to this, Dennis. Okay.
This is making me sick. This is making me sick. I've tried and tried to motivate them. I've tried to rally the people around here pertaining to a peaceful message, me being the messenger, and they didn't want to support me. They didn't want to stand in behind me. So there you go. They brought this upon to themselves.
You're not gonna.
They brought this upon to themselves.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to change any of it.
No, but something like this probably could. This could be a game changer.
Well, I've heard people say that something's coming, and I mean, the thing is, you got to understand, these people, Americans, a lot of them, not all of them, but some of them, I should say, they want what they want, and what they want is whatever they want, and they will not have, Christian. They don't want Christianity. They don't want Christian values. They don't want you telling them what to do. And probably the only thing they'll change their mind is before the judgments fall.
Kind of first thing that come into my mind was a wise old owl once lived in an oak. The more he saw, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he saw. Why can't we all be like something like the wise old bird or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there is something to it, and what will bring repentance in the United States? What is the pattern of judgment? Actually, more importantly, what's the pattern of judgment? Take a look at Jeremiah chapter 19 in the Bible. Now, if anything freak you out, that ought to do it.
What was that contending to?
Israel got judged for its wickedness.
That's right. That's right.
And they were God's people.
That's right.
And they got war and disease and famine and death.
Well, didn't Christ say that not a brick or a stone would not be unturned?
They were judged by the hands of their enemies.
They sure were.
And a lot of their leaders, the scripture says in there, were like rotten figs. They couldn't be saved. They were good for nothing.
Right, right. The corruption has started growing from the inside, kind of like Rome.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
we're kind of like Rome is right now. It's so corrupt. It's so corrupt pertaining to our courts and our judicial systems and our politics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But take a look at that sometime.
You need to contact your son over there in Phoenix. Your you one that you stayed with there for a while, you need to contact him.
Yeah.
You really do. David, I'm going to let you go. This stuff has gotten to me a little bit. I don't mean to be flipping that on you, but I'm going to have to get off here.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Yes, sir. Bye. This is sickening. Oh God. What's next? Who's next?
To the president for having the guts to carry this through.
Can you talk though about the fact that, I mean, this is a very different situation than you've ever had.
Epic
since,
theory.
I think you and I are probably around the same age, because I remember that as well. The Ayatollah had been in charge for 37 years, but since October 7th, 2023, the military capabilities of Iran have been severely degraded, to the point that the Israelis and the United States could go in, and you have a very different Middle East as well, partly because of the Abraham Accords.
Exactly. I think the whole region has been shifting in a different direction, away from Iran, away from kind of corrupt dictatorships that have ruled there for a long time. And the Abraham Accords were a huge piece of this during the Trump administration. Actually, I was just thinking this morning how different things would have been without the Biden administration kind of screwing it up, giving tens of billions of dollars back to Iran and giving them life support. This could have happened much earlier. It didn't have to be this violent. The regime could have collapsed on several occasions if we just supported the Iranians when they tried to rise up multiple times, and we didn't.
Sir, just reading this, Kuwait summons the Iranian ambassador after strikes on its country. And there's some video that shows that the domestic and the international airport in Kuwait City has been hit by some sort of missile or drone, allegedly launched by the Iranians. So now we see the division between the Persian world and the Arab world. What comes of that?
Well, I think you're going to see, an expansion of the Abraham Accords going forward. I think countries are learning. Even the Qatari statement after Iranian strikes into Qatar was pretty forceful. It's more forceful than I've seen in years. They're probably the closest. Them and the Omanis are the closest to the Iranians in the region. And even then, they're even disturbed by what's going on. I think what you're really seeing is Iran lashing out in every direction, firing every missile that it has. If it can get it off the rails and attack whatever population center it can hit, they're going after it. And that's just going to prove what President Trump has been saying all along, that this is an evil regime in Iran. They don't care about civilian casualties. They'll kill their own people. They'll kill their neighbors' citizens, and they need to be removed. And I'm glad that it's happening right now.
All right, Garrett, thank you so much for joining us. Garrett Exner, we appreciate your expertise.
So the former U.S. ambassador to Israel is David Friedman. We're going to get him on the line in a moment here, and we'll get reaction on what we're hearing out of Tel Aviv and throughout the region as well. So stand by. Operation Epic Fury, about 12 hours old as we come to you live from New York City on this Saturday afternoon.
Good God. Good grief. Good grief.
It's getting inspired by all this and committing some terror attack here at home.
Exactly.
I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander of U.S. Central Command.
Sleeper
That's top
cells.
of my list. I need to protect my forces, defend my forces. We've got more than adequate defensive capabilities. We've got 40,000 men and women in uniform serving around the Mideast region, on land and in ships and so forth. And however, we also have extraordinarily potent offensive capability as well. But he's very much focused on defending against what will be continued Iranian strikes with their short-range and mid-range ballistic missiles, but also the offensive capabilities we have here. It's a target-rich environment, Anna, and that's going to be going against ballistic missile capabilities, their launchers and their storage areas. It'll also go after the remnants of their nuclear weapons development program, as well as other aspects, including Islamic Republican Guard leadership and so forth. Another concern I've got, however, is up in the Strait of Hormuz. That's where 20% of the commercial global oil goes through the Hormuz every day. And so we've got to keep a close eye on the Islamic Republican Guard Navy, those fast boats that they may and likely will try to attempt to close the strait. But we have plenty of firepower and plenty of U.S. capabilities here. Final point on this commentary is, you're right. I expect Iran to also to exercise not only their ballistic missile strikes, but also their proxies, the Houthis specifically in Yemen. Perhaps the Iraqi Shiite militia and so forth, but as well as there's plenty of terrorist organizations, pockets of Iranian-led terrorist activity around the world and in the United States. That's why you see the heightened alert that the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI counterterrorism efforts have so far been very focused on. I think we need to continue to prevail, protecting the homeland as well.
Sure, and for the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to be diving into that a little bit later in the show and what this means for Americans here at home. Of course, with all of these affordability concerns that we have here, we don't want to see oil prices go up. Lieutenant General Richard Newton, thank you so much for your time and expertise today.
Good to be with you, Anna.
You too. 46 minutes after the hour. The United States and Israel attacking Iran after the biggest U.S. military buildup there in decades as Tehran begins striking back. We're going to take a closer look at the American assets in the region and the roughly 40,000 troops now in range of retaliation.
This is not good. This is not good.
One has to remember a huge part of Iranian strategy is not to win necessarily, Rachel. It is to survive. And so for them, this is a game of endurance.
In terms of the survival of what we, I think, sort of blithely call the regime here, we all